Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to question number 21 here on Wagner Academy for SAT practice questions. It says in a certain class, one half of the students are ballers and one half of ballers are seniors. If 2/5 of senior ballers have failed the last test, which of the following could be the total number of students in the class? And it looks like it's not a perfect website, this freesatmath.com website. They chose B and C to have the same answers. I'm not sure if that was just a computer glitch or something like that with randomly generated answers, but that's okay. We'll roll with it, and if that happens to be the answer, we'll just say the answer is both B and C. But let me show you this visually and arithmetically. I was going to say arithmetically. That doesn't sound quite right. Arithmetically and visually. So let's say this is the whole class. This rectangle represents the whole class, and one half of the class are ballers. I love basketball. I'm going to assume that we're talking about basketball for ballers. So one half are ballers. This will be the baller side, we'll say. And then of these ballers, that sounded horrible. One half of these ballers are seniors. So we'll cut that part in half as well. So this part here, this would be half of half, which would be 1/4. You could also think of this as 1/2 times 1/2 equals 1/4. You could do that. That's the arithmetic way to do that. But either way you look at it, this 1/4, this represents the number of senior. This half of the side was ballers, and this half of this half was senior ballers. So senior ballers over here, 1/4 of the class is senior ballers. And it says if 2/5 of the senior ballers, so 2/5 of this 1/4 would be 2/5 times 1/4. Now you could split this up into like 5 different sections and shade in 2 of those 5 sections and visually think of it that way as well. That would be fine, but this works just as well here. So 2/5 times 1/4, I could reduce, cross cancel here with the 2 and the 4, make that a 1 and a 2. That would leave me with 1 times 1, which is 1 on the top, and 5 times 2 on the bottom, which is 10. So there's 1/10 of the class would be failed senior ballers. And so you've got this class. This is an important, very important piece of information here. You've got this class that has some failed senior ballers, or some senior ballers that failed the last test, 2/5 of that 1/4 of the whole class. So what number could you pick here? Well, we need to have whole people in our class. We can't have 1/2 of a student or something like that. So if the answer was 5, or if you thought the answer was 5, you would have 1/10 of 5 that failed. So 1/10 of 5 would be 5 over 10, which would be 1/2. You'd have half of a student that failed the last test. That's not possible. So A doesn't make any sense. For the same reason, D and E don't make any sense, because you can't have 11/10ths of a student, 1.1 students that failed. You can't have 1.5 students that failed. That'd be 15/10ths. So the answer has to be, because you have to have a whole number of students that failed the last test, has to be 10. So we're going to say it's both B and C, I guess, here, because both answers say 10. Again, they won't do that on the SAT, the real SAT. That was just a little glitch here on this website. But still a great website, I think, regardless of the fact that they mistakenly put 2 answer choices that were exactly the same. So 1/10 failed senior ballers, meaning that 10 can be the only possibility, because that would give you a whole student, a whole number of students. This one should be choices B and or C.